Welcome back, drafters, and for those of you who are following the BRDL draft, we are on number 2 of the draft analysis series. We're going to be looking at Jayme Sawyer's team. So, Jayme Sawyer's team, I think, is one of the top better teams. I mean, it's hard to say because I haven't gone through every single team yet, but just on paper, I feel like this should be a really good team. He's covered a lot of things. He's got speed tiers covered, he's got priority, he's got a defensive backbone, he's got setup, he's got speed control, he's got setup control. So we'll get into those and the things that I think are really good about this team and the couple things that are bringing this team down. But overall, I scored this team a 42. Now, like I said, the things that he's got going for it, I'm going to get into it with every piece that I'm going to break down in the offense, defense, speed, hazards, and momentum. First off, I scored his offense a 10. Okay, so now for me, looking at this, so he's got some things that he might need for the offense, namely, like, I feel like a fire type would be really strong. But anyways, I think his offensive pressure and his wall breakers are really good. Not to mention he's really capitalized on his speed tier here. Just a point to make on how important it is to have these fast Pokemon and how important it is to make your offense good with those fast Pokemon. For example, you look at Jeremy's team, all those speed tiers in the 90s, okay? You have Mega Lopunny here, which is, I believe, 405. I'm gonna double check my math here. I think it's a little higher. Yeah, no, it's 405. Okay, so Mega Lopunny, basically, if Jeremy's team doesn't have webs up, obviously it's not going to just like one-hit KO everything, but it kind of invalidates every single one of his Pokemon just because it's faster. So basically, at the end of the game, if Jeremy doesn't have webs up and every Pokemon's chipped, whatever the case is, Mega Lopunny just wins. With Fake Out Return or Fake Out Close Combat, he can just keep U-turning. This is what I'm meaning, is the speed is important. So he's got Mega Lopunny there, and then he's got 386 in that Zygarde, 10%. Not to mention he's got 3 forms of priority here, or the 3. I don't know if Kyurem gets Ice Shard. I don't think it does. I know for sure he has 3 forms though of priority. Yeah, no Ice Shard on Kyurem, but he does have Mach Punch on Breloom, he has Ice Shard on Cloyster, and he has Extreme Speed, which is a +2 priority bracket on Zygarde, 10% here. So not to mention he's got the Fake Out with Lopunny. So, and on top of that, he's got Choice Scarf Ditto. So it's just a lot of control here. And very, very strong offensive presence. So, like I'm going to do with every other team, I'm going to get into every offensive Pokemon, break it down, its movesets, things that'll be good on it. So, starting off, we have Mega Lopunny. Obviously, that Scrappy is super strong. Thing is like, not many people drafted Ghost types. If we have a look here. So, if we're going down the list, we have... Nope. Of course, it's like super slow right now. 1. Nope. 2. Sorry guys, I'm just looking through the draft. Yeah, there's only 3 ghost types. So I really feel like ghosts are important in draft if you can draft a good one, and there's lots of good ones available. So Scrappy gonna be useful against those teams with ghost types, as it can just attack right through. It's not gonna matter if they're ghost type or not. Lopunny's gonna be able to use the Fake Out in return and not have to worry. And then you got Mega Lopunny getting access to Close Combat, which is phenomenal. Not to mention it got access to U-turn as well, which is beautiful for this type of Pokemon. A super top tier draft Pokemon with those additions. So then of course you got the patented Fake Out. Bounce I'm gonna mention because Mega Venusaur is in this draft, and that could be important. especially if you need to finish off Venusaur, and Venusaur is continuously dropping in on low punny. You can bait it in, make him think that you don't have anything, and then you hit him with a bounce and potentially KO him. So then you got Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, Drain Punch, which is going to be great for keeping low punny alive. Low punny really doesn't like chip. Drain Punch can really deal with that if you don't need that extra damage from close combat. Play Rough, Power Up Punch, Triple Axle was a new addition as well, which is really great. Ice Punch is probably a little bit more reliable, but if you need that KO, Triple Axle for sure. So interesting things. Low punny does have access to Work Up and does have T-Bolt and Ice Beam. I don't think they're really going to be useful. You have the rest of your team to deal with things like that. Kyurem, for example. But there are some interesting utility / defensive moves that low punny has if low punny's matchup is bad, but it's so fast you can do these type of things. Does have access to Circle Throw, Charm, Cosmic Power, Encore, Heal Bell, Healing Wish, Toxic, and T-Wave. So low punny has a lot of utility options. If there is a Pokemon that's continuously switching into low punny and low punny can't deal with it offensively, you could deal with it in maybe these forms. Or late in the game, if Kyurem's just a monster in the match, you blast through, break some walls with Kyurem's pretty chipped down, you Healing Wish, Kyurem up, and then you just destroy the rest of the team. So considering Kyurem's almost virtually unwallable. So but yeah, speaking of Kyurem, we're gonna mention Kyurem next. The unwallable, I feel like maybe after this draft we're gonna have a vote. Kyurem might be a little bit higher than what his point tier is right now. Just his coverage is so crazy, and then not to mention, in my opinion, Freeze Dry is a completely broken move. It makes this Pokemon and any Pokemon with Freeze Dry just like really, really hard to deal with. Just crazy. If you guys don't know, Freeze Dry is super effective against water types, and it's an ice type stab, so it's ridiculous. Anyways, Kyurem's just got monstrous stats, even if its typing is Ice Dragon. It's got 125 HP, 130 attack, 90 defense, 130 special attack, 90 special defense, 95 speed. So this is super, super high base stat Pokemon. But offensively, we have Freeze Dry, Earth Power, Ice Beam, Draco Meteor, Shadow Ball, Psychic, and I'm gonna mention Hyper Voice a lot. Now, I don't know how everybody's gonna play in this draft because each draft kind of has their own meta. But in the draft that I come from originally, a lot of people like sub setup, so Hyper Voice is gonna be a way to break through those things. Then you have Focus Blast, Ancient Power, Flash Cannon, and then here's another bonus to Kyurem. We have Dragon Dance. Dragon Dance, Scale Shot, Icicle Spear, Iron Head, Rock Slide, Zen Headbutt, and then you have like Outrage and Dragon Claw or whatever, right? So being offensive being physically offensive or specially offensive is super strong. It's a really good way to keep mixing up your opponent because, in one way Kyurem can be a wall breaker, and in the other way Kyurem can be a sweeper / cleaner. Because of its stats, it's gonna be able to do that. So, and then as a really annoying set that Kyurem can pull off since he has such high HP is I want to double check. It's pressure, right? Yeah. So Kyurem has pressure. Kyurem is able to pressure stall. It's got super high base stats. Pressure, Dragon Tail, Toxic, Protect, Sub, Roost, super annoying. Definitely could catch an opponent off guard. I think that would actually be pretty viable. Getting chip down is kind of important for this Mega Lopunny, so you could almost do like Kyurem, Slowbro, and Florges, right? And then just keep chipping your opponent down, eventually get Mega Lopunny in. Mega Lopunny cleans up the team because, like I said, that speed tier that Lopunny has is phenomenal. Moving down the list, so I'm going to mention Slowbro here as an offensive threat because its access to Nasty Plot this season makes it really viable. Not to mention we have Iron Defense, Body Press, and Belly Drum, Drain Punch, and that's 3. So not to mention it has Calm Mind, okay? That's 4 ways that this Pokemon can set up. So if an unprepared opponent thinks this is a defensive Slowbro and Slowbro goes ham, sets up, and it's a Rest Talk or something ridiculous like that, I mean, that's just a GG. For example, like, you know, if Slowbro's got the right set of EVs and it can deal with the team correctly, you go Nasty Plot, Rest, or yeah, Nasty Plot, Rest, Psyshock, Sleep Talk. And if the opponent's, you know, not somebody who throws out a lot of status, you just go Slack Off, Nasty Plot, Psyshock, and Nasty Plot, Psyshock, Slack Off, and then I guess another coverage, or I don't know if it gets Refresh, but yeah. Sorry, I'm getting stuffed up. But yeah, and then its coverage is really good as well. So you got Scald, Ice Beam, Future Sight, Psychic, Psyshock, Flamethrower, and then like I mentioned, all the setup moves. Just a really versatile Pokemon. And then, you know, obviously it's defensive stuff we'll get into on the defensive category here. But yeah, pretty much it for offensively. I mean, pretty much it. It's got like 5 different ways it can kill you, so pretty scary. And then Florges, a Pokemon that I just had in last draft, kind of disappointed me a little bit. Its move pool is super shallow. Offensively, it's got Moonblast, Calm Mind, Giga Drain, Psychic, in power. That's really it. So, but nonetheless, it's a fairy. It's a strong fairy. It's a very useful fairy. Basically, Jayme's just got to not play too passive. Yeah, I know. With this Pokemon and not let people set up on him. That's going to be kind of the name of this team, since it has good offense, but it can be passive. So he's got to be careful like that. He can't play too passive between that Slowbro and Florges. Make sure that he's always trying to keep that pressure up, right? And then we have Zygarde 10%. So a very good Pokemon. Always kind of overlooked in draft. Just a really good cleaner. 1,000 Arrows is super good. Extreme Speed is phenomenal. That +2 priority bracket is awesome. The 361 speed tier is great. It's 361? Yeah, 361. So, and then you have Outrage, Iron Tail, Superpower, Stone Edge. So a little bit of coverage, not the greatest. But Zygarde still has access to regular Zygarde stuff, like, you know, Glare, Haze, 1,000 Waves, Toxic. So you could do some trick, you know, some really tricky stuff like that. It's kind of frail, so it'd be kind of hard to pull that off. But like I said, you guys, doing these kind of these different sets deep in draft is going to be kind of important, and make sure that you're mixing up your opponent and not being too predictable, right? Next up, we have a Pokemon that I rarely ever see in the drafts that I participate in, is Dragalge. Pokemon that I've always kind of looked at and wanted to try, especially since it got Flip Turn. Just never ever made the leap to actually try it. But it does have really good options, especially since it has adaptability and Poison Touch. Both really great abilities, or offensively or defensively. You have Draco Meteor, Sludge Bomb, Flip Turn, Scald, Focus Blast, Dragon Tail, T-Bolt, Haze, Play Rough, Poison Tail, Icy Wind. Yeah, sorry, I can't read my own writing. That's a lot of stuff that it can do. So you know, that Flip Turn is going to be really good, especially considering it's going to be a slow Flip Turn. So that's going to coincide with the Slowbro's slow teleport, Cloyster's teleport. It's going to allow him to get in these threats like Mega Lopunny, Kyurem, Feraligatr, Breloom. You know, it's gonna, or even Cloyster, if Cloyster Shell Smash, it's gonna allow him to get in these threats, but he's got to utilize it like that. So that Draco Meteor Sludge Bomb adaptability, that shit hits like a fucking bag of bricks. So something very probably overlooked. Definitely don't overlook it. It's gonna smack you right in the face. So yeah, I'm interested to see how this Pokemon performs, because I haven't really actually seen it perform at all. So very interested to see how it performs, since it's got I only wrote down one defensive thing for it, so I'll just mention it now. It does have access to Toxic Spikes, so 3 attacks, Toxic Spike might be a really good option for it. So, but yeah, we're gonna move to Feraligatr here. I saw a lot of Feraligatr last draft. One of my favorite Pokemon, so just super cool design. But yeah, so Feraligatr getting access to Sheer Force, Life Orb just makes it a really potent wall breaker. Even in a draft like this where there's, you know, a lot higher tier Pokemon and a lot more bulkier Pokemon, physical or special Feraligatr is still gonna punch some holes in teams, okay? So not to mention, it's not like it has that and it can't set up. It's got Swords Dance, it's got Agility, and it's got Dragon Dance. So pick your poison, really, right? So a very terrifying Pokemon, especially with Liquidation, Ice Punch, Crunch. You know, for other coverage that might not proc the Sheer Force, you have Brick Break, Earthquake, Iron Tail, Rock Slide, Superpower, and then it has Aqua Jet if you need it. And then on the special side, we have Scald, Ice Beam, Focus Blast, and then Hidden Power, because you're probably going to need Hidden Power to cover something, right? So really good Pokemon that you can mix up. Just a very, very terrifying Pokemon to have set up on you. So, and then we have Ditto standard, you know, Choice Scarf Ditto. It's setup control, really. It's like a get out of jail free card almost. You know, somebody sets up fucking 27 times against you, you throw a Ditto. Oh, well, now I'm set up 27 times and I got the Choice Scarf. So, and then we have Breloom here. Breloom, a Pokemon that just kind of quietly fell out of meta and fell out of use. Its coverage is not the greatest, so I understand, but it has Spore and it has Swords Dance. So Spore, Swords Dance, and Drain Punch. So I just kind of failed to see why it's always kind of just left behind. But anyways, it's got Poison Heal and Technician, so it's got really good forms of recovery. It can really, really sweep a team here, especially with Spore, Drain Punch. You have Mach Punch, you have Seed Bomb, you have Stone Edge, Thunder Punch, and then I wrote down Force Palm because the Technician boost if you do that. But I don't know, Poison Heal is just a phenomenal ability, so that would be what I would be using. But that Spore is really going to annoy lots of people, so I hope to see Breloom really shine in this draft. Last up, we have Cloyster, Shell Armor, and Skill Link. Generally, Skill Link is going to be used as an offensive option here. And then your typical Shell Smash, Icicle Spear, Rock Blast, Pin Missile, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Ice Shard, Liquidation, Poison Jab, Smart Strike, depending what you need. Just a really crazy Pokemon to have set up on you. So he's got lots of setup in this offense. He's got lots of strong wall breakers. He's got priority. He's got speed control. He's got setup control. He's got a backbone to rely on. Just a really, really glued together team here. Moving on to the defense, though, I scored the defense an 8. Sorry, just time stamping, guys. Scored the defense an 8 here. So really, the defensive Pokemon that you're going to see right off the bat is Slowbro and Florges. A good defensive backbone here. A physical wall, a special wall. Slowbro can teleport. Florges can wish. It's really, really good Pokemon. So to rely on. But so we'll start off with Slowbro. I already mentioned Mega Lopunny's defensive / utility options, so I won't go over those again. I mentioned Kyurem's as well. But Slowbro here, we have Slack Off, Yawn, Toxic, T-Wave, and Whirlpool. And then, of course, the most important, in my opinion, to this team is Teleport, to keeping that offensive pressure. Just gotta make sure that you don't let that get taken advantage of, right? Subs is a very, very volatile move that can take advantage of that. But Teleport is going to allow Jayme to get in these offensive threats, like I was mentioning earlier, Feraligatr, Cloyster, Breloom, Kyurem, Mega Lopunny, Zygarde if he's cleaning up, Dragalge if the matchup's good. So just a really phenomenal move for this team. If you guys don't know, Teleport is like a minus priority bracket. It's the slowest move in the game, I think. So basically, you get a free switch off of it. And then, of course, Slowbro has Regenerator, so it can continue to do this periodically throughout the match. while gaining HP. So a very difficult Pokemon to deal with sometimes if you don't have the right movesets and the right Pokemon to deal with it. Generally, I would say electric type Pokemon is how you deal with Slowbro. I feel like knockoff is not the way to deal with it, especially because if it's holding a Colbur Berry, it just makes that move useless. So then we have Florges, typical Defog, Synthesis, Aromatherapy, Wish, Toxic. That's really what you're gonna see on it defensively. I don't see many other moves being used. It doesn't have a big move pool anyway, so basically what I've mentioned offensive and defensively is maybe has a little bit more moves that it could use, maybe. So, but yeah, Wish for that, keeping his bulkier threats alive like Kyurem, Slowbro, maybe even Breloom and Dragalge. So, as well as itself. So, then we have. I mentioned Zygarde's utility stuff. Dragalge, I mentioned that Toxic Spikes is going to be important. That Toxic Chip is really going to help this Mega Lopunny get those KOs. That Kyurem get these KOs. Breloom clean up. Feraligatr get these kills. It's just very important. These Toxic Spikes and the spikes that this team has is going to be very crucial to Jayme getting these KOs and these wins. So, but yeah, we just mentioned Dragalge. So Feraligatr here, I wrote down Feraligatr is bulky enough to run a Toxic set. I really only mentioned that because I seen it in the last draft and it was quite obnoxious. Although it was a lower tier draft, definitely something you could do to catch somebody off guard if you needed to verse it to verse a particular team. So then we have Ditto. You guys know what Ditto does defensively. Scouting, checking Pokemon that are setting up, things like that. But Breloom has Spore, Synthesis, Leech Seed, and Toxics. Could be really obnoxious with things like that. But last up, we have Cloyster here. Now, interesting enough, I didn't know Cloyster gets Teleport, and that's kind of crazy because Cloyster can be sent out as a lead, making the opponent think maybe it's a Shell Smash, Focus Sash set. And set up Toxic Spikes, Teleport, it can explode. It's got Rapid Spin, which is great. So, if you needed this thing to, spin off rocks or webs or whatever it is, you can keep it alive, you can Rapid Spin, you can teleport out into a Pokemon that's going to Wall Break or Chip or clean up, whatever the case. And then it has Shell Armor, just so you could secure it not getting crit, which in some cases I feel like is actually really nice to have Shell Armor on, not have to worry about that. So, but yeah, a really surprising defensive Pokemon. I really didn't know that it had Teleport, and just these really good defensive options like Rapid Spin and Explosion. So, Explosion generally used to offensively set up your team. You explode, you either KO the Pokemon or you damage them enough to get into something that the opponent probably isn't going to switch out the Pokemon. Then you just, Dragon Dance up or Spore or something like that and just, start your winning from there, right? So, but moving on to speed, I scored speed a 9 here. 23. Sorry, time stamping. Speed, I scored a 9. So like I said, you guys, maybe Jayme's team isn't as fast overall as Jeremy's team, but he has 2 Pokemon that are going to invalidate his team if somebody like Jeremy's team doesn't have webs up. I'm using Jeremy as an example because I already did his analysis. And his team is a good example because it's a fast team, but it's below these speed tiers that I think are important. So that 405 speed tier from Mega Lopunny, the 361 speed tier by Zygarde, just really, really good. Not to mention he has priority in Fake Out, Mach Punch, Ice Shard, Extreme Speed, and then he's got Ditto with the Choice Scarf. Just a lot of control over speed here and very good speed tiers. Not to mention, the rest of his team speed tiers really aren't terrible. I mean, they're a little bit on the slower side. Kyurem at 95 was? Yeah. So Kyurem at 95, that hits 289 Modest and 317 timid, which is good. That's great, especially for a Pokemon of his strength. That's really good. So Breloom falling behind a little bit, I think around the 230 area. For Alligator, around the 280 area, I think. Yeah, 280. And then the rest of his team kind of slow, besides Ditto, of course, who's going to be Choice Scarf. But yeah, a lot of speed control here. He's got T-Wave on Slowbro if he absolutely needs it. But generally, that's what his team's speed is. It's between that Mega Lopunny and that Zygarde, and then his priority. That is what solidifies this speed, is the amount of high speed that he has, plus the priority to make up for those Pokemon that aren't that fast, i.e. Cloyster, Breloom. So very, very strong here. Definitely one of his top points of this team, and was notable throughout his draft. So moving down the list, we have Hazards though. Hazards at a 6. So Hazards at a 6. So you're probably wondering, you're like, oh, you know, he's got so many spikes, like, and he's got Rapid Spin on a good Pokemon. He's got Defog on a good Pokemon. Yeah, I'll agree. He's got a really reliable Defogger, a pretty reliable Rapid Spinner, and he's got good Toxic Spikes, good Spikes, but he has no Stealth Rocker. So rocks are important. I just, you know, flying types are really going to take advantage of this team. You know, they're going to come in. They're not going to be damaged by these rocks. Sorry, by these spikes. They're not going to worry about toxic spikes. They're just going to come in and freely do what they want. Or those Pokemon with Levitate. And I find rocks are just... Spikes are good. I don't think they're bad, but just rocks hit everything. That's the thing about rocks. And if you're going to have some form of hazard, I feel like rocks, you would choose rocks over spikes. So, not to say spikes and toxic spikes is bad, but I definitely think he needs a rocker. You know, I don't know who he would get rid of on his team here. Maybe the Ditto, since Ditto's like insurance. It's not like super neat. It's like insurance. You don't have to get it, but like, for example, you don't have to insure your car fully. But if you do, you're insured fully. So if something sets up, then you're insured with the Ditto, right? But if you don't have Ditto, it's like you're kind of half insured, right? You basically got to play around it. So you got to be a bit more careful, is how I would say it. Maybe trading Ditto for a rocker might be more important for this team. You know, he doesn't have ground type anyways, so electric types are kind of going to come in. You're going to hit Slowbro, you're going to hit Feraligatr, you're going to hit Cloyster. So I really think a rocker is needed. I think a rocker should be on almost every team, to be honest. But yeah, I won't rant on too much about that. I do think that's important. That's why that's 6. But momentum here, this is going to be an 8. With his momentum, it's more coming from his like reverse momentum. So he's got Teleport in Slowbro, he's got Teleport in Cloyster, he's got Flip Turn in Dragalge here. It's like reverse momentum. He's just like, he absorbs the attack and then he's going to go on the offense again. He absorbs attack and then he's going to go on the offense again. And it's going to be this rinse and repeat strategy that's going to be really annoying. It's going to force the opponent to predict and potentially make a risky prediction, and, you know, put himself in a position to potentially lose, making a decision that's incorrect. So not to mention just like, you know, the momentum. Mega Lopunny can clean the team, no problem if it's chipped. Breloom, absolutely no problem either, since it's got Toxic Heal. It's got Spore. It just, you know, he's got Shell Smash Cloyster. He's got Dragon Dance, Swords Dance, Agility for Alligator. He's got Ditto. You know, if the opponent sets up, he's send in Ditto and reverse sweep the opponent. You know, he's got Zygarde as a cleaner. So there's a lot of like, it's not so much a snowball effect. It's just like a momentum that you can't slow it down. You know, he's U-turning, he's teleporting, he's flip turning. All his chip damage is going to keep adding up. And you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to take this chip. It's not going to be that bad. And then all of a sudden, you know, turn 30, Mega Lopunny comes in and just one-hit KOs the rest of your team because it's all chipped enough, right? So that's kind of where that momentum score is coming from. So overall, Jayme's team, a 42. I think this is a above average team. I think it's So when I'm saying these teams are above average, one of the explanations that I kind of want to give is like an above average team, in most cases, in my head, will be a team that you could give to somebody who has no skill and they could perform okay with it, because it's on paper it's so simple to see how to use this team. It's got a defensive backbone. It's got setup. It's got speed. It's got a little bit of hazards. It's got easy Pokemon to just click buttons with. Right? That's how I feel about that. But yeah, this isn't to say Jayme's team is perfect though. Jayme's got some overlapping weaknesses. He's got a little bit of a fighting weakness. He's got a little bit of an electric weakness. But he's got those things covered in, these big defensive Pokemon like Florges, that can deal with both fighting and electric, and then Slowbro, who can deal with fighting type attacks. He's really got his bases covered on this, and it's really going to come down to how he plays in these wins coming out, because I think this team is good. I don't expect to see too many trades down the road. If anything, it'll be for Stealth Rocker, but there's definitely going to be no roster apocalypse for this type of team. Overall, this is definitely one of my favorite teams. I can't wait to see more matches from Jayme, and yeah, we'll see you guys on number 3.